It was a rainy Thursday morning in downtown Chicago when billionaire Gregory Langston, known for his sharp business mind and famously cold demeanor, stepped out of his sleek black Bentley. As CEO of one of the world's largest real estate empires, he rarely ventured out without a swarm of assistants, but today, something inside compelled him to walk the final block alone. With his umbrella shielding him from the drizzle, he paused outside a cozy corner bookstore, Harriet's Pages, a place he once visited long ago, though the memory of why tugged at him faintly, like a whisper from the past. Inside the shop, a young girl, no older than 9, sat curled up on a bean bag, her honey blonde hair falling over a worn copy of The Little Prince. Her clothes were clean but faded, and her sneakers had seen better days. She glanced up, blinking wide blue eyes as Gregory stepped inside, dripping water on the old hardwood floor. Their eyes met briefly. She smiled first. "You look like someone who's sad even when it's not raining," she said quietly, closing her book. Gregory was taken aback. Children usually shrunk away from him, or their parents pulled them closer. He stared at her, uncertain how to respond. "Do I?" he finally asked. The girl nodded. "That's how my mom looked before she passed. My dad too, when he left." Gregory felt something twist in his chest. "Where's your dad now?" he asked, suddenly curious. "I don't know. I never met him," she said, shrugging. "Mom said he was kind but scared. She never told me his name. Just said I had his eyes and his birthmark." Gregory furrowed his brows. "Birthmark?" The girl extended her arm and rolled up the sleeve of her thin sweater. There, on the inside of her wrist, was a small crescent-shaped birthmark, unmistakable in its shape and placement. Gregory's heart skipped a beat. He had the exact same one. For years, he thought it was just a unique mark he'd inherited from his mother, who died when he was a teenager. He remembered her once saying something cryptic, "That crescent ties you to someone you'll never forget." He dismissed it at the time, chalking it up to maternal sentimentality. Now here it was, staring at him from the wrist of a little girl who felt strangely familiar. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Sophie," she replied, standing and brushing off her pants. "What's yours?" "Gregory," he replied, hesitating before extending his hand. She shook it firmly. "Gregory Langston?" she asked, surprised. "You're the billionaire on the news. You donated that hospital wing last month, right?" He nodded slowly, still staring at her wrist. She tilted her head curiously. "Why are you looking at me like that?" He looked away, caught off guard by the wave of emotion rushing through him. "You said your father had that same birthmark?" Sophie nodded. "Mom said it was the only thing she could use to prove I was his. He never stuck around long enough to see me born." Gregory's mind raced, trying to calculate years, places, memories. A long-forgotten summer flooded back, nearly a decade ago, before his company went public, before the billions and the boardrooms. He was a man running from grief, vacationing anonymously in a small town in Indiana. He met a woman there. Rachel. She was kind, beautiful, guarded. They spent 3 weeks together, finding solace in each other's loneliness. Then he left without goodbye, afraid to let someone in, afraid to let anyone get close to the broken parts of him. "Was your mom's name Rachel?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Sophie's eyes widened. "How did you know?" He stumbled back a step, his breath catching. The walls of his carefully constructed world trembled. "I think I might be your father, Sophie." The room fell silent. The few customers browsing nearby looked up, startled. Sophie blinked, trying to understand. What do you mean?" "I knew your mother, a long time ago. I didn't know she was pregnant when I left," he said, struggling to speak around the lump in his throat. "If what you say is true, then you're my daughter." For a moment, Sophie just stared at him, processing the weight of his words. Her lip trembled. "But," why didn't you come back? Gregory felt tears prick his eyes, a rare, unwelcome sensation. Because I was a coward, he admitted. I was scared of love, scared of losing people like I lost my mom. I thought if I stayed alone, I couldn't get hurt. I never knew about you. Sophie looked down, then back at him. So, what now? Gregory knelt down slowly, eye level with her. I want to know you. If you'll let me. I can't fix the past, but I can be here now. I can be your dad. Sophie didn't respond at first. Then, quietly, she stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around him. Gregory held her, his heart cracking open in a way it never had before. For the first time in decades, he felt whole. The bookstore owner, an elderly woman who had watched silently from behind the counter, stepped forward with a warm smile. She comes here every day after school, she said. Always reading, always hoping. I think she's been waiting for you. That night, Gregory didn't return to his penthouse. Instead, he took Sophie for pizza and asked her 1,000 questions. She told him about school, about the stories she loved, about her dreams of becoming a writer. He listened with tears in his eyes, marveling at the fact that such light had come from a past he had tried to forget. Over the following weeks, he began the legal process to adopt her fully, though she already called him Dad after the first weekend. He found a cozy brownstone near her school instead of bringing her to his cold mansion. He took meetings from the kitchen table while she did homework beside him. He cancelled unnecessary trips, choosing to prioritize bedtime stories and pancake breakfasts. And with Sophie in his life, Gregory changed. He smiled more. Laughed again. Donated more quietly, more meaningfully. He set up a foundation in Rachel's name to support single mothers and their children. And every time he looked at that small crescent birthmark on Sophie's wrist, or his own, he no longer saw something strange or lonely. He saw connection. He saw grace. One afternoon, while sitting at the park bench as Sophie played with other kids, she looked back at him and shouted across the grass, "Hey Dad, are you happy now?" He stood, smiling. More than I ever thought I could be. Because sometimes, the most beautiful truths arrive when you least expect them. And sometimes, a small voice, a quiet question, or a birthmark shared between strangers can uncover the greatest gift of all, love, waiting patiently to be found.